I am introducing Miss Destiny Dawn Harris. She is a wife and a mother to 3 grown children and lives in Mobile, Alabama. She graduated from the University of South Alabama with a Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration and owns and runs an automotive detailing business with her husband, Brent. They found in 1999. From 8,000 Miles is her first book. In it, she details the traumatic events that unfolded in her family's life in mid-September 2018. It is one of the many trials she and her husband have faced, and she writes about it in a very honest and candid way to bring strength, healing, and hope to others who have faced their own set of trials and circumstances. Her faith in Jesus Christ is the reason she has made it through, and she sees everything she writes as a testimony of what she has become and what God has done for her. Destiny loves to read and spends time writing, researching, cooking, and baking bread. She also enjoys skiing on both the lakes and slopes with her family in the summer and winter with her little Maltese, Molly, in tow. Her favorite topics to write are on health, spiritual, and business. Her dream is to one day open a health retreat in a rural area near her home with a focus on helping families that have children with mental health issues so they can have a better quality of life and find respite with the challenges of daily life. So please put your hands together and let us welcome Mrs. Destiny Dawn Harris.
Thank you, Miss Ann. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for allowing me to take this time to be here tonight and share our story with you. And we share our story to help bring awareness, because what happened to our family, we never knew that anything like this even existed or that it could happen. And I want to apologize ahead of time because I realize that this is a very disturbing story, but I would rather you be disturbed and be forewarned than be blissfully ignorant. And so just as you're listening, just try to think of it as a blessing. Just a blessing to encourage you that you could prevent this from happening to yourself or someone else that you know that you love. So first of all, I'll tell you our story, and then I want to share with you some things that we learned as after it happened to help you see the warning signs and some things that can help prevent this from happening. And as I go through that, I'll tell you more of our story. But I'll come back around and finish our story, and then after that we can have question and answer, because that's where I believe that we learned the most. So in 2018, our daughter was 21 years old at the time, and she had never lived away from home before. And so she was living at home with us, and she left our home in the middle of the night and got on a plane headed to India to meet a guy that she had been talking to online for 2 years without our knowledge. His father had paid for a one-way ticket for her to come to his country, and all the time she had a boyfriend at home, so we never knew she was talking to anyone else. When we were able to go over there and get her with the help of Homeland Security and the U.S. Marshals and the Indian government and our congressman, and we went there and we were able to bring her home. But as soon as we landed in our hometown airport, she was once again taken from us. But this time by people that we knew, people that we trusted, and people who were helping us get her back in the beginning. So there's definitely a spiritual warfare element that was happening. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But whenever our daughter landed, she went with these people, and we've not had any contact from her in 7 years, almost 7 years it's been. Human trafficking is something that is happening every day in our country. 50 million people are trafficked every year. Right now, that's how many people are being trafficked in the United States, and it happens in all 50 states, so no states are immune to it. It's a $173 billion a year industry, the second most profitable illegal activity, and it's increasing rapidly. Last year it increased 29%, so that's very, very rapid. And there's 500,000 predators online with you and with your children and your grandchildren and great-grandchildren every day. Now, some of the tactics and strategies that they use to lure you, I want you to be aware of this. In my daughter's case, it was a romantic, what they call a Romeo relationship. So the guy enticed her into a relationship online that she thought he was her boyfriend, even though she had a boyfriend at home. But they're very, very good at what they do. They're very good at deceiving you. They're very good at drawing you in and making you feel like they're the only one in the world that understands you. They're the only one who you can be yourself with. Those were the things that my daughter said. And they draw you away from your family and your friends. They isolate you. So the romantic relationship is just one way. There's other ways, such as employment opportunity. It sounds too good to be true, and then when you call about the job, it's far away from the interview, it's far away from home, and so you have to drive out there, and then when you get there, you don't know what the job's really about. You don't have really any good, description of what it is, and then when you get there, then you're taken and you're driven, far away and into the sex trade. And then there's also video games, especially I know more boys probably play video games than girls, but this happens not just to girls, it's boys, it's any age really, even all the way up to senior citizens do get lured into these online relationships that they think that there's someone that loves them and they start sending them money. And that goes into the sex trade. So the video games, they start to have a friendship with you, and you don't know that person who's behind the video game. It can be anybody. It looks like someone your age, and it sounds like someone your age, but it could be anybody. And they're very patient, so they could be playing video games with you for 2 years. Very slow, very patient, building your trust, building a friendship, causing you to trust them. And then one day when you go to meet them, they just put you in the car and drive away. So they do prey on, the unhappy teenagers. And what teenagers do we know that are happy when you're going through hormonal changes and things, and you have fights in your home with your parents? That's just normal. That's a natural part of life. But they prey on that. So they want you to have fights with your family and your parents. They want you to feel like your parents don't understand you, and that's not true. Your parents have been where you are, and they do understand. But they cause this divide, to make you think that you don't really have anybody with them. So that's just a lie. It's just deception to draw you in and prey on you. And a lot of times, too, the victims are the recruiters. So sometimes you may see your friend at school or somewhere, and they are the ones that are being sex trafficked, and they are the ones that are saying, hey, come go with us. I know it stinks at home, but it's better over here. And then your own friends can draw you to that trafficker who's trafficking them. So you have to be very careful that you don't just walk into something you don't know what you're going into. So just always remember that your parents are the ones who love you. They're the ones that are trying to keep you safe. There's nobody else in the world that loves you as much as your parents do. Your mother gave birth to you, and she is the one that, even if it doesn't seem like she understands today, that's okay. You need to just remember that nobody else is going to love you more than she does. And there are many people out there who don't have your best interests at heart. And since you're in church, you know to pray to God, and He will speak to you and let you know. You'll have this little voice that lets you know that something's not right. And so listen to that little voice, that still small voice. And like I said, they do target all ages, not just little children, but they, older boys and girls. So one of the reasons why it's hard to rescue those who have been trafficked is because, and the rescue rate is only 1 to 2%. So of all the kids that are trafficked, hardly anybody ever gets rescued. So you want to make sure that you don't get lured into that, because once you're taken, it's very unlikely that you'll ever make it out. And then the people that do the taking, the predators, the bad guys, the criminals, they only 0.1% of them ever get put in jail for it. So, and that's because there's a corrupt system out there that's not working the way that it should. So we have to really stay close to the people who care about us, because the other people out there are not really doing their jobs. Now, one of the reasons why it's hard to rescue people is because of this trauma bonding that takes place. So what the predator will do is he will cause you to bond with him in a way where you will not want to leave. And so that's what makes it really hard, because if he just grabbed you at a gas station and put you in the car, which is like a guerrilla warfare type tactic, then the police have something to work with, because he just took you and you don't want to be there. But whenever they lure you in and they create this relationship with you, they deceive you, they make you want to be there. And when you want to be there, then it's very hard for the police to do anything about it. So deception is a really strong thing. It's a very, very successful tactic. So I want to give you some warning signs that I saw looking back on this after my daughter had been lured across the world. First of all, like I said before, the very first thing that they must do before they can prey on you is they have to isolate you from your family and friends. They have to make you angry and afraid at your family and friends. Okay, so they also cause you to distrust the police or your parents or anybody who could help you, maybe a counselor or anybody at school that's in a position to help you. They make you distrust all those people. And they want to be the very first person that you hear every morning and every night. So that's called conditioning. They want you to only have their thoughts in your head and nobody else's. They want you to only have their plans in your head. So they will talk to you, morning and night before you go to bed, and every morning when you first wake up. They want to be the first people that you listen to and the only people that you listen to. So it's really good, if you have your Bible, to let God's thoughts be in your head, because those words in that Bible, those are God's thoughts. And so if you want to know what God's thinking, read those words and put His thoughts in your head every morning and every night. Amen. And then you will be safe. That's the only way to be safe. So some other things is, and I guess I'm speaking kind of more to the parents here, but any change in characteristics or behavior. Sometimes it's hard to notice that in ourselves, but we see it in other people. But any change in characteristics or behavior, if you're acting different than you normally do, are you asking questions or making comments about things? My daughter, whenever she was talking in this relationship, talking online with this person, she started asking me questions about airports and flying, and I just thought that she was interested in maybe being a pilot or something. I had no idea why she was asking these questions. Now, looking back, it makes perfect sense, but then I had no idea why she was asking that. And then one night she came to me in my room and asked me, is there anything that I could ever do that would make you not let me live here anymore? And that question scared me to death, as I didn't know what to do with that. I just knew that it wasn't good. And so I said, no, why? And she said, oh, no reason. And I was thinking, well, why ask? You know, but I just didn't know what to do with that question. So whenever these things, you know, happen, those are signs that something is off. And you really just need to sit down and have a conversation. Because instead of having a conversation, I began to rationalize in my mind, oh, what could she possibly do? I mean, she's not going to go anywhere. She never goes anywhere. She stays in her room all the time. She doesn't really have a lot of friends. She doesn't really talk to anybody. And so instead of having that hard conversation, even if I couldn't have had it that night, I could have had it the next night or a couple of nights later. But I didn't, and so I was rationalizing that there wasn't anything that she could possibly do, or she wasn't going to go. You know, where was she going to go? So, so that's dangerous to do. You really have to sit down and have a conversation. The other thing is the bank account. Now, if you're old enough to have a bank account, if your child is old enough, you can always follow the money. So if they're old enough and they're living at home. My daughter had some charges on her bank account that were very suspicious to me. One of them was a check she wrote out for travel for $500. She put travel and made it out to cash and put travel in the memo line. And so I questioned her about it. I questioned her for 2 hours, and she never would say a word to me. She just stared. She would not say anything. She was completely stonewalling me because this was 2 weeks before she was going to leave, and she wasn't giving away any information. And so the other thing was a charge for $300 and something, and I didn't know where it was. It was something I thought was a clothing store, and it actually ended up being where she got her visa. But if I had taken just one step further and actually looked up, you know, Googled or looked up online what that name was, instead of just thinking it was a clothing store, then I would have found out what it was. So it's not enough just to see the name on the bank statement. You actually have to go and take that one more step and see what it actually is for. And then also about the mail. My daughter was very concerned about the mail, and she was really obsessed with the mail. We had gotten a new mailbox, and we had a lock on it, and she was very upset about that. And so you really need to know where your children are getting their mail from. So that is how he sent her the plane tickets, was through the mail. And sometimes children can, or, you know, not children, but 18-year-olds and up, they can even get their own P.O. box and you won't know what they're getting. So even if they're not getting it if they're not buying it themselves and you don't see it on the bank statement, they might be having someone else send it to them in another way that you don't know about. Okay, and I talked about the conditioning, about them wanting to be the first person in the morning and at night. My daughter's phone would ring or ding real early in the morning, and I would ask her about it. She said, well, you know, she really wouldn't even answer me. And I just thought maybe it was the wrong number. And but the reason it was so early in the morning was because of, you know, being on the other side of the world. So it was the time change. So just those little things to think about. And also what they do is create an illusion of bonding with your child. So with my daughter, he talked about how, you know, he used to, when he was a little boy, he liked to watch Disney movies, and he would talk about the different Disney movies and made her feel like, you know, they grew up together because they watched the same movies. Or, you know, that he liked to go to the gym the same way she did, and he liked to eat the same kind of food that she liked. So they create this bonding to make them feel safe with them and to feel like they've always known them. So if somebody has so much in common with you that it's like too much, you know, it's good. You should have some things in common, but not everything, and not all to the same degree. You know, you're not going to like everything as much as everybody else does. Right. And then also another warning sign that should be obvious is if you're keeping the relationship a secret. If somebody really loves you, they should want to know your family. They shouldn't keep it a secret. Secrets about relationships are never a good thing. It's not healthy. So you want your family to know someone that you care about. And some of the ways that I believe that we can help prevent this from happening is, number one, is just to be aware that it's happening, which is what I'm doing tonight, is letting you know that you need to be aware that these things happen and people do come and pick you up from school and, entice you to come with them, or your best friend that you didn't know was being trafficked might say, hey, come go with us, and this person, they pay them money to get their friends, and that's really sad that somebody's friend would do that to them. But then the girl doesn't have to do those bad things that she doesn't want to do because she can just get paid to have her friend, and then she doesn't have to do it. So, and then also just the education, which is also what I'm trying to do as well, just to be educated about it, to be aware, to be educated. So I believe in education, not condemnation. We don't want to make you feel bad for being online and having friends and talking to them. You just need to be safe about it when you do, and know that not everybody online is your friend. And then some of for the parents, that there's something on the phone that you can put on an app on there. It's a parental control app, and that allows you to be able to monitor their text messaging and their Facebook messaging. But when you put the parental control app on there, you also have to have another app that's called the app lock. And the app lock allows you to lock those parental control apps on the phone so they can't uninstall them. If you put a parental control app on the phone and they just take it off, it's not going to do any good. So you need the lock where they cannot uninstall that app. Family Safe is one of them, and it includes a tracker, so you could actually have a tracker on their phone, so like Life 360, so you know where they are. And if they're at the age of driving, then you definitely would want it for all kinds of reasons. If they got in a wreck, or their car broke down, or their phone was dead, you would be able to, if their phone was dead, I don't think it will pick up, I'm not sure, but you could actually put a tracker on the vehicle as well. That way, if the phone is dead, you can still get to them, even if it's nothing nefarious going on, but just, having a breakdown car or a wreck or something. So those are some things to be aware of. You also need a team of surrogates, people on your team that will tell you when something is going wrong or might be off. My daughter, there were a couple of people who knew about her plans to go to India, but they didn't tell us because they thought we already knew. They thought she was going on a mission trip. It was the furthest thing. And then, her boss at work, she had actually lied to them and told them that she was just going to see a friend that used to live here in the United States and had moved back home, and she was just going to visit her. So, but anytime that a young girl would be going across the world by herself, that should let you know. I mean, nobody goes to another country by themselves. I wouldn't do that by myself. So be aware of those things. And then another thing you need to do, and I guess I'm speaking to the parents again here, is just to get inside your child's head. And that does take time, but that's the best thing you can do, is to spend time with them, to know what they're thinking, know what they're feeling, know what their plans are. And especially, one thing I like to say is when you get inside their head and and it takes time. I mean, it would take me probably a couple hours to break through, because you got to break through that first layer of just, where they just don't want to say anything. But eventually, you get through that first layer to where they're really going to talk to you. And once you do, you will get access to the other side of that relationship, if there is one. That's your access to what the other person may be putting into their head. So you want to know what those plans are, and it just takes time. But if your kids know that you care enough to spend time with them to know what they're thinking, what they're feeling, that's really the biggest way, because you can put all these apps on. You can try to put them on timeout from different things. But the problem is that is that desire of them wanting to do it. I had the man that wrote the foreword for my book. He was able to get his daughter was planning on doing the exact same thing my daughter did, but he actually was able to stop her before. He actually found out about her plans ahead of time and was able to stop her. But he said, you know, we could stop her all day long, but what we really needed to do was to stop her from wanting to leave, because she wanted to leave, and she was going to figure out how to do that one way or another. I mean, they just finally got it through to her with the FBI's help that this person is not who you think he is, that he's not for your best, he doesn't have your best interest at heart. So once she realized that, and they told her exactly what to tell him, and when you say this, he's going to say that, and that's exactly what he said. It's a script. So that's what made her wake up and know that, yeah, this isn't what I thought it was. So just trust your parents and trust the people that are put there in place to keep you safe and protect you. That's what God put your parents there for, is to keep you safe and to protect you, not to take away your fun. Of course, whenever you get out and you do fun things together with your kids, that can get them talking, you know, do new things together. Another way to prevent this from happening is to tell your story. If this has happened to you, or anything like it, or anything that may have happened to you that's bad in your life, or any pain or suffering that you went through, when you tell your story, it doesn't only bring healing to you, but it brings healing to other people who may have went through the same thing. And whenever you tell your story, it educates and brings awareness to other people to prevent that from happening to them. Because that way we can learn about all the different, you know, tactics and strategies and things. And if you have courage and you come forward, it gives other people courage to come forward. And then that just, you know, keeps a cycle going. When a young girl has been trafficked, or if she's been abused in any way, usually as a teenager, it takes until she's about 50 years old before she feels like she can come forward and tell about it, because it's a process. So the earlier you can get to that point where you can tell someone, the quicker your healing is going to come for you and for other people, because it will give them courage too. So I want to go back to our story for a minute. The price of the plane ticket for my daughter that they paid was 1 year's worth of rent in Indian money, in rupees. So that was a substantial investment. It wasn't just to meet. They were expecting a return, I'm sure, on this investment. And so we do believe that we thwarted an attempt that day in the New Delhi airport of human trafficking, because New Delhi is like the capital of sex trafficking in the world. It's the largest city in the largest country known for it. And it was 30 minutes from the Pakistan border. So even if he was a good guy, it was such a bad area that she could have easily been taken and sold by someone else. You know, even if his intentions were good, it was a really bad area. And my daughter was made to believe that in India, where there's a Hindu religion over there, that Christians were actually paid by the government for being Christians. So she was very naive. And that's just one of the many lies that he caused her to believe. And we may never know his true intentions. Nobody will really ever know, because when you thwart an attempt at something, you don't know what was going to happen. But you do know that everything surrounding it did not look good. And we believe that human trafficking was plan A. And since we thwarted that he was settling for plan B. So plan B was for him to have a chance at U.S. citizenship. And so My daughter worked really hard to get him over here, so she came back. We brought her back. And then 6 months later, like, we were only there for, it was a week that we were working to get to her, and then a week that we were there. So she was only there for 2 weeks that she was actually in his presence, that she knew him, not online. And then we brought her home, and then 6 months, I think it was, no, maybe it was 7 months, 7 months later, she went back over there, and she married him, and she sold her car to go over there. And when she came back, she started working to get him here on a marriage visa. And so she worked really hard. She worked like 2 jobs sometimes. She was sleeping on the floor, sold her bedroom furniture to work for this guy to get him here. And then she worked nights at times for like 3 years. She worked nights. And and then finally, he did get here in January of 2024, about a year and a half ago. And when he got here, guess what he did? He didn't come see my daughter. He didn't come see her at all. He went straight to Chicago and never saw her. He was not interested in a relationship. He just wanted her to get him to this country. And I know that she probably sent him money. All this like 6 years worth of time that she was working. So she worked for 6 years to get him here, probably was sending him money. So, it's extortion. People are trying to just use you. And your parents, they know. As mothers, we know. We can smell things. We have woman's intuition, mother's intuition. And we're just trying to keep you safe. But one of the worst things is that my daughter believes it's her fault. She doesn't feel bad. She doesn't hate him. She thinks, no, it's my fault. It's my fault. So you can see how he's still working on that. He's still working to make you believe that it's just your fault and he's not a bad guy. It's just, it's you. So they never stop. And that's that trauma bonding too. That they make you feel like you're so attached to them that, you're still protecting. That's the reason why they don't get caught. That's the reason girls don't get out of it, is because they're always protecting that guy because they've been bonded to them through the trauma. But I don't want to leave you without any hope, so I want to tell you some of the things, some of the miracles that God performed for us in saving our daughter. First of all, the first miracle is that she left a letter letting us know where she was, or we would have never had any clue of where to begin. So we're very thankful that she left us the letter. She had her route information, not her exact plane information, but she had written it down, what her route was, where she was going. And then also the second miracle is what would normally take 2 to 3 months. We had never been out of the country before, so we didn't have passports, we didn't have visas. We had hardly went anywhere in our own country here in the United States. And so what would normally take 2 to 3 months to do, we were able to do in about 3 days. We had the congressman helping us, and so that was the second miracle. The third miracle is that whenever we were able to get her, when she landed at the airport there in India, our church had some people that they contacted over there in India that they knew, and so they were able to get a member from their church to go meet her there at the airport when he was meeting her there. So it was about 3 o'clock in the morning in India. These really sweet people, they're really sweet people over there in India, and they got out of their beds at 3 o'clock in the morning to go to the airport to meet my daughter, to give her a choice. If she wanted to come with them or go with this guy. And so that third miracle is that she chose to go with the people that we sent instead of going with him. So that gave us time to get over there and get her. And ultimately, he did save her out of India, not just once, but twice, the second time when she went, because by that time, everybody there knew what was going on. It had been in the news there, it had been in the news here, and everybody knew. And so he wasn't about to do anything at that point. So, so some of the parallels that I saw between our story and the gospel story is that, God, He had a broken home, because in heaven, when that, Lucifer, the angel, he fell, and he took a third of the angels with him. So God had a broken home in heaven. That's crazy to think about that, how one of His creation, the most beautiful angel, Lucifer, had left. He didn't want to be at home, and he took all the, a third of the angels with him. So God was the perfect parent and in the perfect home, and He still had children that left Him, that didn't want to be with Him. So He had a broken home. So as parents, we don't ever have to feel like, that we're alone. God knows exactly how we feel. And then God came down in the person of Jesus Christ. He left His home and He left His throne to come and save us. My daughter said, I didn't want them to save me. She said she didn't want to be saved. That's kind of what we do. We had left our home, and we have a business, and we left our business and risked that and went to the other side of the world, to a foreign country, like Jesus came here, to another world, another country, to save us. We went over there and left everything. Jesus left His home and His throne. We left our home and our business to go save our daughter, and she didn't want to be saved. And Jesus left His home and His throne to come save us. And sometimes we say we don't want to be saved, And so, but He still loves us, and He still did that for us anyway. And He still calls us, His children, asks us to come, and He knocks on our heart's door, and He wants to come in. He wants to be our friend. He wants to save us. I'd also want you to know, not just to be aware of human trafficking, but that spiritual warfare is a real thing. That collaboration at the airport, were some people in our family that didn't like our Christianity, and so they used that I guess I should say, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers of the air. So it wasn't our family. It was the person that was driving, Satan, that was driving this to turn them against us, and and then they in turn turned our daughter against us. So it does seem crazy how something like that could happen, but we do wrestle against these principalities and powers. So it is a spiritual warfare, and we have to pray. My mother had a prayer group that night whenever we left to go to India, and there was two things that one of the ladies said there. She said, just know that she will come home with you, but it won't look like it until the very end. And she said that you would be attacked this very night. And that very night, our daughter did put something on Facebook that turned everybody against us, telling people that we had abused her, which is one of these things that the predator will also do that. He'll get in their head, like I said, and want them to be mad or angry at their parents. And so he started making her believe that she was, being abused. And so, I want to leave you with some promises too, because one of the other miracles was that night when that lady said she will come home, but it won't look like it until the very end. Well, it was the very last day, and it was getting dark. It was at twilight, and we thought we were going home without her. And then, by God's divine providence, there was a man who came walking by the church where we were praying, and he was one of the boys from church's uncle, and he was a politician, and he took us to the government. We didn't know where the government office was. We didn't know where we were. We couldn't speak the language. We didn't know anything. And they took us to this government office, and they just spoke in their own language, and then before we knew it, they were sending military guards to his house with machine guns, and they surrounded the house, and they took her, and they put them in jail, and they said, she's going to go home with you tonight. So that was God. That was God's intervention. Only God could do that. We couldn't do that. We didn't even know how to talk. We didn't know how to speak their language or anything. And so that was the other miracle that God did. But I want to leave you with some scripture promises. These are some of the things that I've been holding on to. And then I'm going to close because I do believe that my daughter is going to come back. I believe that God's still working on her, and He's working on me, and that she is going to come back. And I believe that she's going to stand beside me and tell her testimony. The story's not over, and I believe that there'll be a sequel. She'll be writing her own story, and that's the story we really want to hear, because we want to know how in the world did somebody leave their family and stay gone for so long. You know, what was going on in her mind, you know. And Jeremiah 31:16-17 says, your children will come back to you from the distant land of the enemy. Your children will come again to their own land. Well, she did do that once, but I believe in a spiritual sense she will come back to her own home. Isaiah 49:25. The captives of the warrior will be released, and the plunder of tyrants will be retrieved. I will fight against those who fight against you, and I will save your children. And then Isaiah 49:17-18. Soon all your descendants will come back to you, and all who are trying to destroy you will go away. As surely as I live, says the Lord, they will come back and will be like jewels or bridal ornaments for you to display. And then also Psalm 34:10, those who seek the Lord shall lack no good thing. That one verse right there is the verse that has helped me hold on for 7 years, is that I know that if God is not a liar, and He says those who seek the Lord will lack no good thing, then if it was good for me to have my daughter right now, I would have her. So it must mean that it's not good right now for me to have her. So I just want to let you know that when I was writing the book, when I started writing the book, I told God, I don't have a good ending for this book. And for 3 weeks I was ruminating over that I don't have a good ending. And then I got on my elliptical one morning and I turned on the Christian radio station, and the first thing I heard was the announcer, and he said this. He said, hand God the pen, and He will write an ending that you didn't see coming. So I got busy writing. And so I know He's going to write that ending, and I want you to know that your story isn't over either. If you've been through anything, if you're going through any pain or suffering, God is not finished writing your story. He is in the midst of your pain. And really, whenever you go through pain, that is the people that go through pain are the people God can use the most, because it humbles you, and it keeps you from being proud, and it allows you to be dependent on God and hold on to Him for everything. And those are the people that God can use, are the people that are humbly holding on to God and dependent on Him. So that's what your suffering does. And that's everything that I have, and I just wanted to let you know. I want to thank you for listening, and I just wanted to show you the book. I don't have any. I ordered them a month ago, but they were running behind getting them in. But you can go on Amazon and order it. It's called From 8,000 Miles, a story of internet danger and how our daughter was saved. And if you do, please leave a review. And then I have some bookmarks, and you are welcome to all take a bookmark. And on the back, it has my website and where you can get more information. So you're welcome to have those. I'll leave those here. And now I want to open it up for questions, because I really believe we learn the most when we ask questions. So, yes.
How often do you communicate with your daughter?
None. I haven't had any. She has not even sent a text in almost 7 years. Not even a text. But the good thing is she has contacted her brothers. I have 2 other children. Son, she's in the middle. He's one older and one younger. And she has contacted them, and she did contact them last July, a year ago. And they actually visited with each other in person. And but she, since the book came out, she cut them off again because she was upset about the book and that they didn't tell her about it. So it's been a year since they've seen her or talked to her. Yes, ma'am. Oh, sir, sorry. Ma'am.
So is your daughter back in the States?
Yes, ma'am. She was in South Carolina, and I believe she recently moved to Michigan. But yes, I've been able to pretty much keep up with her as a mom. I'm kind of a private investigator type mom, and I want to know where my daughter is. I can keep up with her pretty good.
She said she had a girlfriend in the beginning?
Yes, she had a boyfriend. She had a boyfriend. I think their relationship was pretty good. I don't know that he was like the best. I think they had a lot of the same problems. But he was a Christian, and he was very handsome, and he had a golf scholarship. I mean, it seemed like it was really going well, and it was 2 years that she had been dating him. At the same time, she was talking to this other person. So it's just really amazing how someone can just pull you in and lure you away from your boyfriend and your parents and deceive you like that. And a dream job. She had a dream job that she loved, being a physical trainer at the gym at Planet Fitness. So, yeah.
She blocked you, that's why you can't.
Yeah, so she's blocked, me and her dad are blocked on everything, phone and Facebook. Yes.
I kind of got lost at one point. Okay, when at the airport, when they told you that she was coming home from and she did. So she physically came back to your residence.
No,
She did.
no, she
So
didn't.
when you said she came back, I mean she came back to the state.
Right, to the
So
airport.
she never left the airport with you. So
No.
that's where okay.
Yeah, she came to the airport and right a mile from our house, but then they took a friend and some of our family actually met her. Well, they collaborated and a friend met her there and took her. And yeah, she was upset with us because she didn't perceive the danger she was in, and she thought we were just messing up her romantic relationship. Yes, ma'am.
What advice would you give to the kid, like the kids age, the kids of today, knowing what you know now and what happened to your daughter? What advice could you give them, seeing it now, but, preventing it from happening to them?
Just
Online,
remember,
friends.
yes. Just remember when you go online, you need to know that not everybody is who they look like they are. They're not who they say. They're not necessarily who they say they are or who they look like. They might look like they're your age. They might look like they're the same gender, another girl, or but it might be an old man, and you don't know that. And so you don't ever give out your address or any personal information. You don't even have to give your real name. Don't ever let anybody know where you live or give them your address. And don't keep all your information very private, and don't ever trust anybody online. You don't know who it is that you're talking to. And talk to your parents. Always talk to your parents about these things.
And one of the things we figured out was that don't tell them exactly everything you like. Tell them something you don't like, and if they act like that too. Because he would copy everything she said. If she liked this, oh, I want that too. So if you can kind of play that game.
Yeah, maybe, if you're talking to someone, make sure that if you're talking to them, you might ask them something first, because if you do all the talking, then they're just going to pick up on that and just say, oh, I like that too, I like that too, I like that too. So let them do some of the talking, and then you can, they can't manipulate you as easily that way.
So I'd like to know, you say your daughter is in South Carolina now?
She moved, I think she recently moved to Michigan.
Okay, is she with the guy that did all this to her? I know you said he came back and went to Chicago and left her.
Right.
I was wondering, did they ever get together?
Yeah, they didn't.
No.
They never got together.
Okay.
No, she's in another relationship now, so she's not with him anymore. Yes, ma'am.
Another question. As far as your daughter, in your relationship, did she ever, in hindsight now, did she ever confess and say, that something happened within the household or something happened within, the family in general for her to even start discussing or talking to this stranger?
That would cause her to start talking to him? No, I can't think of anything. I knew I had found out that she had been talking to people online, and when she had this, and while she had her boyfriend, and she was going to a counselor at the time, and I found that on her phone because I had taken, whenever my daughter ever was disrespectful, because I mean she was 21 years old at the time, so I always just said, as long as you're respectful, you know, you don't pay rent to live here, so as long as you're respectful, and as long as you clean up after yourself, and you save a little bit of money, that was really the only rules that we had. So when she was being disrespectful, I took her computer and her phone, and I saw some of these things, and the counselor said, you know, you don't need to be, you know, we told her that this is not good. This was 2 years before she left. We told her, don't talk to these people you don't know. So I thought it was all, she understood, and it was all fine. And 2 years later, she was still talking to him, and then she left. Yes, Sam?
Were there any deleted messages, pictures, emails, anything deleted that y'all were able to recover after she left? So like the kids feel like once they delete their search history, once they delete the pictures or lock them, that they won't ever be discovered. Like, were y'all able to pull stuff that way?
I don't know about the deleted. I don't know if you can pull stuff after it's been deleted. I know there's a place for pictures. Pictures
can. I know you can.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, pictures, there's a place you can go to get the pictures. I don't know about text messages, but once we got back from India, through divine providence, God allowed me to see every single text message and every single picture that was ever done while we were in India. So it gave me all the background information that I needed to know what was going on and why she was working against us and why it was being so hard for me to get her to come with us, is because people were working against us to turn her away from us. So that was interesting. I did get all of that information.
With the help of law enforcement?
Ma'am?
With the help of law enforcement?
No, actually I had one of those apps on my daughter's phone that I was telling you about, but it was back when she was in high school, and I never even thought about it again until this happened, and then I thought, oh, I wonder if maybe I could go in that app now, because I hadn't looked at it in so long, and so it was all on there.
So the young man just got away scot-free.
So far. So far.
He's probably out there doing something.
He might be, and that's why I contacted the Chicago Police Department, and I let them know, and I sent pictures, and I sent names, and, you know, address, and date of birth, and all that. So, and then, I put tips in, and I put tips into Homeland Security and all that. So hopefully, they will eventually find him, see, because he could be trafficking someone here. And I had actually, when I did a speaking engagement at the Monroe Museum, at the lady that runs the Camille House over there that's for trafficked children, she said that maybe because she thought there's no way he should have ever been able to get this country, but she thinks that maybe the reason they let him come into this country is that maybe they might be let him come in so that they could keep an eye on him and watch what he's doing, and then take them to wherever something bigger might be happening. So that could be a possibility, but he's been here a year and a half now, so I hope they're watching. I hope they're doing their job. So, any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Coming up in her younger years, were you guys involved in church? Did she have like a spiritual
Yes.
background?
Yes, we sure were.
And in the adolescent age, was she showing any signs of depression or
Yeah,
some type of?
we think right before she left, about 4 months before she left, we believe that she was high functioning autistic. And she really didn't spend a lot of time with us as a family. She kind of stayed to herself, and she had anxiety and some depression. But I also like to point out too that even though our daughter was that way, is that it can happen to anybody, because John Baldwin, who wrote the foreword for our book, his daughter wasn't anything like that. She had lots of friends. She was very popular at school. And she would have a really close relationship with her dad and her family, and they went on the church camping trip. And we took our daughter on the church camping trips and things too, even though she was more, quiet. But so when I think about that, and when I saw his story, I knew that, it could happen to anybody.
Right.
So. Yes, ma'am.
One more question. I have a teenager, so, speaking in like Crystal say, the adolescent age that they're in now, not just on social media, but can you express to them the importance of distinguishing between their so-called friends? They can like go to these houses, you don't know who their parents know or what their parents are into, or I mean just the crowd that their family, entails. So I mean that's like that can be a form of trafficking, because I heard a story about a couple weeks ago where a lady let her daughter spend the night at her friend's house, where she went to pick her up and she was gone. They didn't know, the dad, but come to find out the dad knew what happened, but.
Yeah, when my daughter was younger, I really didn't think that. I mean, she didn't really go spend the night with people very much because she was more, homebody, and she liked to stay at home. But thinking back on it now, I mean, she did go spend the night probably once or twice, and I think if I was to do it again, being a mother and a parent, I would be very, very, very reluctant to let my child go spend the night anywhere, because you don't know who those people are. Your friend might be really your friend, but his dad or her dad or her brother or her uncle could be there, and they may be doing things to her that they're also going to do to you, and nobody even knows about it. So it's really not a good idea to go spend the night with even your friend. It's just, I know, it's sad, because I used to go spend the night with my friends, but now the world is just not as nice as it used to be. So, all right, well, thank y'all so much.
We thank Ms. Destiny Dawn for coming tonight and sharing this with us, making us aware of the things that we hear on TV and we see on the internet, to know that these things really are happening right in our own neighborhoods and town. So we thank her for coming out and sharing this with us, and that we too can be aware of some of the signs and things that takes place in a home, that it won't catch us off guard. One of the things that I heard from this story, and that I seen from the story going on, that seemed to captivate her daughter, and then her daughter used it to captivate their friends that they had, was deception. He deceived her and caused her to believe things that wasn't totally true, that wasn't true. He deceived her, and does that not remind us that Satan comes to steal, kill, and destroy? By what? By deception. And one of the things that we have to be aware of in today's time is that this little device, I won't say little, but this device that is now able to articulate your thoughts and so forth on your phones, on your laptop, that's called AI. You could Google something or say something and even be thinking something, it seems like at times, but all of a sudden it pops up on your phone. That's AI. Those are the little things that have been embedded into the technology that is supposed to be for the good, but not everything that's supposed to be for the good is used for the good. So those are the kind of things that we also have to be aware of, because those are the things like that will cause deception. It will deceive you to thinking that it's okay to click on this link that's all of a sudden popped up on your phone, on your laptop, on your computer. And you have to be aware of those kind of things and not to click on them and not to get involved into these chats and these rooms where folks are inviting you to come into these chat rooms, and you have to be aware of these things. And like she said, even friends, or people you think that are friends, they're really not friends, they're just associates. Because a friend would try to deceive you to do something that they know that is wrong. Those are associates. So we need to be aware of these things and be mindful, especially our young impressionable youth. They have not seen some of the things that are out here, but those that are older you have. So we should look out for one another. We should love one another enough that if we see something that we know is wrong, then say something. Don't worry about them saying that you was a telltale and telling on them, because you want to keep them from going down the wrong road or from being in harm's way. So it's okay for someone to be a little mad, upset with you because you did something for their better good. So sometimes ain't nothing wrong with being told that you're a telltale when what you're telling is for their benefit and for their good. So we pray tonight that you will become more aware of the trafficking and the things that are going on in our neighborhoods, the things that are going on in our schools, on the playground, the things that are going on in our homes, the things that are attracting the deception that's going on our phones, on the internet. Make yourself aware of these things. And don't be naive enough to think, oh, that won't happen to me. That can't happen in my house. That can't happen with my child. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. So be aware of it. And don't be ashamed to let folks know that when these kinds of things are going on in our areas, in our neighborhoods, so that they too can be aware that it's going on. So love each other enough to share this type of information and make everyone aware. We hope that fella, that predator that is here now in the United States, that his picture and his information is placarded all over social media, because he's not here just for a job or looking for a new love. He's here to plant, I would think, other plots and other people. He's here to go out and entice and get other people. That's from someone that's been overseas and that's seen these kind of things. They plant molds in different places to grow their deceptive group to get as many folks in it as they can. And the only way that we can stop is by the grace of God and by loving each other enough and making each other aware of this kind of deception and evil that is going on in our own neighborhoods and communities. So love each other enough to make each other aware and keep each other informed. Sister Gail.
I just wanted to say, I hear a lot of things that go on in the county that a lot of people are not aware of. And what kids need to understand and know that their parent is a safe place. And no matter how bad the situation is or what may have happened, nothing will ever change the way you feel about your child. And they should not be scared to come tell you anything.
That's right. That's right. That's right, Crystal.
Amen.
And also, share this, Pastor, and I also have to be careful of your surroundings. When you take your kids to Walmart and all this at 9 and 10 o'clock at night, be careful. Try to park up under the light, because you can park out there in the dark and they can have a van, they can snatch your kid up before you turn your eyes, they gone. So you have no business being at Walmart out with young kids 9 and 10 o'clock at night. It's just too much going on. You can't pay attention. You can be in the budget, somebody will pull up with a van, snatch the kid and go. So try to do our shopping in the daytime, whatever we do. Don't wait till no 9 and 10 o'clock. I gotta run to Walmart. That might be just the last run.
Jesus. I actually forgot about it, but my mom wanted me to share. About 2 months ago, he and I went to Marshals, right here in Mobile, near Sam. Everybody know Sam?
Yes.
And it was in the daytime. We had just got off from work, and I ran in the store. I was looking for something. I ran in, and I'm very observant. Everybody know me. I'm very observant. So when I come outside my car, it was a ribbon tied to my door. don't know where it come from. I thought maybe my purse got snagged. And then as I thought about it, I said there's no way that my purse could have got snagged from the outside because you physically had to open the latch, and you don't open the latch to get out the car from the outside. So I said, there's no way my purse got snagged because I didn't touch the door from the outside. I only opened my door from the inside of my car and I got out. And I know what goes on with the sex trafficking and I hear about it, so I didn't want to touch it. It could have been, they say with the fentanyl and all. So I took a napkin outside of my door and I was trying to pull and nothing, no force I used to get that ribbon untied from my door. And so I went to looking around. Emerson was already in the car. The first thing I do was put it in the car. So I put it in the car and I locked her door. And I went to looking around like, God, is this a sex? Is somebody trying to get us? Is somebody trying to get us? A car pulled in front of me and just sat there. It was a black guy and he was just sitting and he was looking at me and I was looking at him and I said, God, just please be with us. So I got in my car and I left. And my mom said, why didn't you call the police? I was terrified. I didn't want to sit there any longer. But I left and I kept watching my rearview mirror. No one looked like they were following me. I made different stops because I know they say don't go straight home. So I made different stops in my pattern and sat at the different stops for a little while to see if I recognized any car that looked like it could have been following me. And I prayed all the way home. And by the grace of God, we made it home safe.
Right there in Mobile.
Right there, Sam's parking lot.
She said she couldn't get that ribbon off of her car. No kind of way. No man couldn't got out. It was just that time.
Well, I don't know if y'all know, but that's how they do the sex trafficking in Mobile. I live in Mobile, where I live in 8 miles. And that's what they do. They put things on your car, so the person that's actually doing the sex trafficking notices your car and notice that, hey, it's a girl in there or it's a girl and the mother in there. And that's how they know and that's how they tag the vehicle to say, hey, this is the person on this car, we want you to get next.
And that's also so they keep you occupied for a while. If you sitting there struggling with a ribbon trying to figure out how to get a ribbon off your car, that's right. That's something to keep you occupied.
That's why I tried to take one time and I pulled.
Yeah, that
I
ribbon
said,
will be right
I need to
home.
get in my car and I need to take it, so.
Everyone will be green there.
I mean, I did get it off when I got home, but I didn't sit in the parking lot trying to get it off because I knew in a short second I could have been gone. So, yeah, and that was just happened about a month or 2 ago. So it's very careful to be aware, watch your surroundings at all times.
Amen.